Barbershop Podcast.
You scared me. I thought something blew
up
or something.
in there. The technical version of the flaming bag of dog poop on the porch. Barbershop Podcast, trying not to scare you. Popping, rocking, and rolling from Boxo Studio, Hamilton, Ontario, the blast furnace of live original music in Canada and perchance, I say, the world. We've got artists in here. This is probably the 116th week in a row we've done this, isn't it, Ryan?
Something around there.
Something around there. I'll be able to reference that on any number of the interweb conduit channels to find us.
You figure it out.
You figure it out.
We got enough to do.
Google that shit. We're here. Ryan Cannon is here. Gary Greenland. Left Diogi outside. That's going to be fun. Okay, so anyone could break in. Front security has been compromised, but we're good. You won't sneak in the back. We'll take care of that on the first break. It's a good night. You got back from the frozen north. You were doing the great Canadian tradition, weren't you? What were you? You were doing some ice fishing.
Ice fishing up in Lake Simcoe.
Yeah, and you got a huge haul, didn't you?
Yeah, like this big, like solid, like this big. No, we caught no fish. Caught a good buzz, but no fish.
It's not about the fishing. No. It's about sitting in a stinky shack with a bunch of buddies and not showering for 3 or 4 days. But you get to come back to this, our first Thursday show, and goodness knows, we probably had a couple when we did a couple pre-record. But normally on Wednesday, tonight, Thursday night, we've had a couple that have come out Thursday morning. Yes, it's happened. But we always persevere to put out some quality entertainment every week. We, as we said, feature live original music. We find the stories of these musicians and how music has affected their life. We play some of their material that they have labored over and have offered to the world, and you can find and enjoy original music. And we have live in studio performances, and that's what we're going to do tonight with Drew Leith from the 519 coming out here to the 905. How you doing, Drew?
Very well. Thanks for having us.
I'd love to. I'd love to have this kind of easy feeling every week. Sometimes we have a giant setup with 650,000 different drums. Chill, couple, and you brought your partner in crime, Scott Chandler, with you tonight. How you doing, Scott?
Good. How are you?
Good. Very good. Boys are from Brantford, and obviously being close to Hamilton, there's that draw. You kind of got the Norfolk County music scene, and you've got this scene up here. How long have you been doing it? How's music entered your life? Tell me your story in music.
Well, we do a lot of stuff in Brantford, but we're actually from Cambridge. So my brother and I, Ryan, who's also in the band, grew up in the Cambridge area. Our drummer actually grew up in Hamilton, so there's a tie to Hamilton there. And Scott's from Kitchener, Waterloo area as well. So we're all from that area.
The Tri-Cities.
The Tri-Cities. You got it in the 519. I liked how you said that. It made me think of that song Area Codes.
Yeah, totally.
I'm not cheating on any other podcast hosts. I swear it.
A lot of good music in the 519.
Yeah, it's a great scene there. So music for me,
I'm talking when you were little.
Yeah, and that's it, man. That's where it starts. Around the campfire, Dad playing the acoustic guitar, folk music, talking about, just the good old music that you could play with an acoustic guitar around the campfire and everyone's singing along. Everything from Kumbaya to the Beatles to Stompin' Tom and anything in between. Just some good old music, and that's really where it started.
Yeah, I think that's a big problem with kids is because, they get their music through a TV set. And I'm old enough to remember that you didn't know what people looked like. You just knew what they sounded like. And having that kind of experience with live music when you're young, you got a live music experience. I remember being like 7 years old at a wedding and seeing a band for the first time. And
that wow factor
totally changed me. I wanted to do that.
Yeah.
That thing. How about you? You said.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah. Same thing, Kevin. Yeah, totally. My uncle, he was a great musician, actually. I remember hearing him as a little kid. My cousin's drumming. One of my earliest memories is actually just sitting in a drum kit. I don't play drums, but it was real live music type of thing, right? So
that certainly attracts the kids. I remember that was what blew my mind: the silver drum kit and the brushes. The guy was playing with brushes. I thought that was so cool.
Unabashed ability to just thrash about, and no one's going to tell you not to, because apparently, as a drummer, the more you thrash, the better you are. So. That's why I think kids are drawn to the drum set. Yeah. You were talking about not knowing what they looked like. I think as a kid, I maybe had a disconnect between actual bands and their music because, you know, like I grew up with an 8-track player beside my bed. I didn't have a TV in my bedroom or even a radio. It was an 8-track player. So I was playing, you know, the Big Bopper and Rock Around the Clock, Rockin' Robin and all that stuff and you know, really connecting to music. But I never really maybe thought that there was actually people behind the music. To me, it was just like, and that's what you were talking about today with kids with an iPod. It's, are they disconnected from the musicianship of it all?
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder that sometimes too. I don't want to sound like a cranky old man with my kids are at that age, but I know that I'm going to subversively infect them with good music, and that is as a father.
You owe it to this generation.
I owe it to that generation. It's like they're starting to figure it out with McDonald's and fake shitty food. They're going to figure it out with fake shitty music. Yeah,
this Kanye stuff.
Oh, I think it's the best thing that ever happened because a lot of people are like, "Who's this Beck guy?" And it's like, "Oh, I might." You know, who's this Beck guy? I think it exposes the rot, and when it becomes profoundly uncool to like shitty music, it's going to stop being so popular. Yeah. And I think that this echo generation, right? That's what I'm finding out. Doing this podcast, a lot of kids coming in the 20s who've got great musical taste. They're playing a music that guys our age would really like because they've been influenced by their parents' record collection. And it's kind of cool.
And there's a resurgence of that, too, of this sort of roots folk movement of, like, an acoustic guitar and no, I don't own an amplifier or, you know, there's this real sort of...
evaluation of that, at least.
Yeah,
right?
I like it. I like it, too.
So what about both you guys playing? Did you start playing relatively young or did you pick it up just in high school because I got to do something?
Girls, man.
Yeah.
Girls, Hotel California. I had to learn the song Hotel
not why
California.
I learned at all.
What was yours?
Yeah, I started playing guitar in high school, too. Same reason as you.
The song that melted them.
Poison. I think every rose has its thorn.
Thorn, that would do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that being profoundly aware that Johnny, being the best guitar player, wouldn't get you the girl. The guy who played Blackbird was not doing as well as the guy who played grinding out a 3-chord Tom Petty song.
It's true. And pretending like he was going to cry the whole time.
Exactly. It's not what you play, it's how you play.
Guys like you and I didn't pull that off as well, did we?
So, talking about when you started getting together with this particular outfit, what were the seeds of what you've got together now, and how would you describe it if you were, you know, and you've got to be your own A&R, you got to be your own PR guy.
Yeah.
You know, I'm saying, what kind of music do you play? What's your band about?
Sure.
What do you tell people?
Well, my elevator pitch is that we play Canadiana folk rock, which is a mix of Southern rock and Eastern folk. Seems to resonate with country fans these days, again, because they appreciate that guy with the guitar telling a story, not doot 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 on my iPod and is it charting on the top 1,000. You know, it's since we've moved into the Southern rock world, we found people have really accepted us with open arms.
Yeah, I think that's the case. There's a certain honesty and earnesty that's associated with that kind of music, and it's good. Well, without further ado, I think I'm going to get you to strap on. You brought in, and I got to say, there's 2 other guys in the band. Normally you have a full outfit, and it's a rock and roll show. You got your brother playing bass, that's Ryan Leith, and we got Daryl Ralph, the drummer, and also like these guys. We'll give a shout out to you. Too bad we could maybe get you on again, you know, another year or so, something like that, or maybe one of our big showcases or anniversaries. We like to have a good time around here.
Cool.
And obviously, you guys are doing music, which is in the business of good times, making people smile and dance, forget their problems.
Totally.
So you're going to start with a live song. Anything you want to tell us about this particular song?
This song's called The Distance. It was written by a bunch of Canadian guys about shitty Canadian winters for a bunch of Canadian people who will understand exactly what we're talking about.
You gotta love it.
If you want to take it one step further, it's all about the snowy back road of life.
I like that. I couldn't say it any better myself. A nice slice of Canadiana right here from barbershoppodcast.com.
1, 2, 3, 4.
It's cold outside. There's one beside my fire. Come sit next to me, my dear. It's amazing the view from here. You can could see for miles. You could see for miles and miles. Yes, you can. You could see for miles and miles and miles and miles and miles and miles and miles. You could see for miles and miles, miles and miles and miles. Knuckles grip the wheel. Frozen country, ice and steel. Back roads freshly clear. And you're still with me, my dear. We could see for miles. We could see for miles and miles. Yes, we can. We could see for miles and miles and miles and miles and miles and miles and miles. We could see for miles and miles, miles and miles and was cold in bed by the frosty December red. Reminder of days gone by when you were still here by my side, and we could see for miles in every direction, through the good and the bad, upon further inspection. Love that we had, still a connection, even after we're gone. I know in my heart, if you were still with me, you bring back the part I know I've been missing. Can't take the pain, I remember the place when we the place where you and me can see for miles. We can see for miles and miles. Yes, we can. We can see for miles and miles and miles and miles, miles and miles and miles. See for miles and miles, miles and miles, miles and miles and miles.
Yeah, that's Drew Leith. If you want to watch him, if you want to listen to him, you can seek him out on the interweb of life. Look for Drew Leith. That's Leith, Drew Leith and the Foundation. He's in here with half of the group tonight. Scott Chandler at Barbershop Podcast. A beautiful piece of music. Sound great, guys. Nothing like wood and steel. That's really what holds up at the end of the day for a good song, eh?
Hey, man, it's you ever been on a back road and not seen wood and steel?
No.
A little bit of rust, call you out.
Yeah, and you got to feel that. There's a certain element to it. When things get too clean and too acerbic, it loses an element of believability.
I like that.
You have to get into someone's heart, before and you also have to move their butt, because they're not going to listen to your great lyrics until they've listened to your song 3 or 4 times. So it's got to be catchy.
Having a big thing for us is being visceral. Can you touch it? Can you feel it? Can you smell it? Because if you can't, what's the point?
Yeah, paint a picture. Are you able to have that kind of conversation in the band when someone likes something, or when you all get agreeing on it, or do you kind of come in with an iron fist and go, "I've here are the songs"? And
No. It, at the beginning, a lot of the songs were already done, so there were 10 songs that kind of needed to be learned that way.
Right.
Other than that, I really appreciate every musician bringing their own piece into it.
Feed on the creative process.
Right. Hey, and I'll be totally honest. Let's blow this right out of the water. I've been doing some soul searching lately, and I've realized I'm a control freak, and I need to loosen up a bit because I'm not having as much fun as I should be.
Yeah.
And these are some of the lessons that you learn. Sometimes you get so close to something, you want it so bad, you try so hard that you need to separate from it a little bit.
Yeah, and absolutely, it's a gradual evolution. It's a process, and I think anyone who gets to the stage you're at, or where I am, or where Ryan or any of us are at this point, a lot of tenacity, a lot of work that's you trusting yourself, and when you get to that core of people, you're like, okay, and then you realize the power. It's kind of like the Borg. You've got this collective ability now, when there's a greater force at hand. So let's talk about the band getting together. Were you in different outfits and you recruited each other, or how was the band formed?
Okay, so believe it or not, I was a corporate monkey for a little while, and learned lots of life lessons during that, and just at one point realized it wasn't for me. So I wanted to give back. I was lucky enough to have saved a couple of dollars while I was working in the corporate world, and I started to volunteer at the YMCA, and shortly thereafter, they found out that I played guitar and asked me to start teaching lessons, and that parlayed into managing the music education program at the walk-in center at the YMCA, which was fantastic and a great opportunity to sort of get my feet wet with music while also still having it as a career. Shortly thereafter, my brother said, you've got these fantastic songs. Why aren't you doing anything with them? So I found a great producer in Toronto, Brian Moncars, who's produced some amazing albums. He was the prodigy of Bob Ezrin, who's produced, that name.
So many.
So we were really honored to have Brian's input on both of the albums. So, Brian, if you're listening, thank you. But yeah, so we put the album out, cut it on iTunes. I was looking for players, and my brother had recently started a small band, and he said, why don't you try jamming with us? And so I jammed with them, and we ended up going through a couple of drummers until we found Daryl. Daryl's been with us for, I think it's 3 years now. And we've had a couple of guitar players come in and out. In the last year, we've added Scott in on the harmonica and banjo, and we just love the sort of dynamic that I see the look on your face.
Yeah, I love a banjo.
It's a really cool dynamic. Yeah. And you can do it cool. Everyone thinks banjo, and they're like, and it's like banjo can be cool. You just have to give it the respect that it deserves, right?
So true. So true. So your first record was called With You.
Drew Leith,
with Drew Leith, the self-titled, the first record.
Yeah.
And the process, you were happy with what came out of that?
I learned a lot about songwriting during that process. It was very organic, but at the same point, because I was sort of bringing my material to a producer, it was like I was the one on the chopping block. There weren't a bunch of guys holding hands, in a circle. It was me sitting there basically getting a new one torn, and I'm so appreciative of that process because the second album, Brian turned to me and said, you listened, you paid attention to what was going on. You're listening to what's going on in the music scene today. You're listening to songs. You're looking at how people are writing songs. And, I was like, what's a bridge?
Yeah, save yourself some money, too, when you come back in the second time. And you know what you're doing, right?
That's so true.
It's all part of the process. We got to do it to get it, to do it. And we got it here, Barbershop Podcast. Going to give a shout out to one of our sponsors. We love our sponsors. They've been with us for, going on a year now. I'm going to say hi to our oldest and dearest sponsor, which is hamiltonartist.ca. They do promotional printing. If you need anything printed on anything, you need to go see hamiltonartist.ca. You can see them on the internet at hamiltonartist.ca, or you can actually go to their store and visit them. I'm going to find my paperwork. Here we go. at 1141 Main Street East. We're talking about the Delta in Hamilton. We're King and Main Cross, very famous part of town, not far from here. HamiltonArtists.ca. They print anything on anything. They're committed to helping the small business with the promotion and the marketing of their business or of their message that they want to get across. They have small printers. They have giant printers. They can do banners, T-shirts, cups, mugs, stickers. You know, you're in the business. You're always looking for something that you need. And these people are artistic. You go in the shop. It's a beautiful experience. You deal with them on the phone. They're professional. They're friendly. They do right by us. That's HamiltonArtists.ca. 1141 Main Street East at Balmoral in Hamilton, and go visit them on the internet. Tell them you're a friend of Barbershop Podcast. I'm sure there'll be something special in it for you, and we love them. So we've got a video that we're going to play. Like, tell me about the video. I like it when we get a video in here. We do that at Barbershop Podcast. We can play anything from, we've played cassettes, we played 8 tracks, we've played 45s, we played 33s, videos. You know, if you've got a piece of something that we can play here on a format, we do that. And I'm glad that you got a video for us. And why don't you tell us a little bit about it? This is With You.
This is the video for With You. This is our upcoming, or our first single that we've released from our upcoming album. The second single will be released this spring. The video was shot in Hamilton. I'm not going to name the venue, although if you've got a keen eye, you'll pick it out. And yeah, we were really lucky to work with a fantastic production house in Toronto. Inspired One did a great job putting the video together. And yeah, we had a blast shooting it, and I hope that everyone has as much fun watching it and that they enjoy the song as much as we do.
Beautiful. It's a beautiful thing each and every week at barbershoppodcast.com.
Here and now.
And that is with you. Spoke a little video. Looked good. So you was it a nervous experience, or were you all hammy and loving it?
You know what? It was a 14-hour day, and then we played a 3-hour set.
Oh.
So that live footage is actual live footage. Like when we're up on the bar dancing with the girls and having a good time, like that's all just part of a show.
Well, I hand it to you. If you ever go see this band, you know they can do 14 hours of drudgery and then kick your ass. So how'd you feel the next day?
I think we all got sick after that. It was brutal. And next time I'll have a production assistant, because I ended up being like the everything.
It's grueling. Just anything, you know, to do with video, editing, studio, production, mixing, it's tedious. Yeah. But you want it to be good, so you invest the time,
like
right?
I said, hats off to the studio for making it look as good as they did.
Well,
so, Brian, thanks, man.
Yeah, it sure did. Right here, Barbershop Podcast. We got Drew Leith in the studio tonight, songwriter from the 519, coming to the Hammer to share with us his creations, and fine ones they are. And you're going to lay another one on us?
Sure. Before I do that, though, I want to tell you something you don't know about us. We have a pretty strong tie to the Ticats. I was telling the boys about it before we started the show. In 2013, when they were building the Tim Hortons Stadium, we actually played all of the Ticats home games when they played it in Guelph. So we played 7 of their home games.
Awesome.
Yeah, so we were the official Ticats tailgate band in 2013. So
that's
now
great.
You know.
Fantastic. For those who don't know, we got a football team. They built a new stadium. It was a bit behind schedule, so the only place that they could do it was in the city of Guelph, a small city, about 40 minutes from here, and played, 6 games there that year. And that's actually was the beginning of the turnaround for the Cats. They did very well there, well received. I think it was a bit of a lucky spike.
And it was, their first season in 17 or something. I'm not gonna, don't quote me on that, but their first season in a really long time that they made it to the Grey Cup. So
awesome. Congrats to our Cats.
Yeah.
All right.
I like that.
I'm gonna have some more live music. That's what we do best here at Barbershop Podcast. Ryan Cannon and Gary Greenland take care of that for you. And on the receiving end is you, and on providing end, here's another one from Drew Leith.
1, 2, 3, 4. Take my time to walk the line, travel down this road and back again, just to find out where I've been and now I finally know. Been around, wondering what the hell was next, and as the years go on it's still the same. Stumbling home in the pouring rain for one more glimpse of you. It's not the moments you hold dear, but the moments you are near makes it so worthwhile. Found a place, puts a smile upon my face, like a trinket from your yesteryears. Lost and found, it still appears to brighten every day. Hear them say that love is almost there. It's not the moments you hold dear, but the moments you are near that make this all worthwhile. Yeah, if you go, I will stay. Though it seems as nothing's changed, and I know I don't have to say thoughts of you will remain. Yeah, all right. And in my dreams, or in my waking thoughts, it seems. Visions of those years gone by, memories of you and I, and now I find love. It's not the moments you hold dear, but the moments you are near makes it so worthwhile. It's not the moments you hold dear, it's just the moments you are near makes it sound worthwhile.
That's Drew Leith on Barbershop Podcast. Each and every week, bringing you live original music from Boxo Studio in Hamilton, Ontario. Got the Junos coming soon. Back to Hamilton. We did have it for a number of years. I fear we were used because, people would come down and use Cops Coliseum for cheap and then go back to Toronto and party. Didn't like that, but it looks like the city is really gearing it up and showcasing that we are a strong musical entity in our own right and a city to be feted and celebrated. Thusly, not just a convenient down-the-highway option at a more affordable price.
And you guys have welcomed us with open arms, too.
We
done
do that.
A lot of really cool stuff in Hamilton. So thank you to everyone in Hamilton that's had any part in helping us. So
Yeah. We try to keep, the places that support live music go out. I know you're probably like this weekend, for example. It's Valentine's Day. I want to take Sweetie out. She said, don't take her out. Don't take her to a movie. Okay, that's the worst. Take her to a dinner. You're gonna get probably crappy food because they're overworked and you got to wait in line and be grumpy. Take her out to a live music show. There's lots of them. When's the last time you went out for live music? There's something that happens when you experience live music. Beyond just the enjoyment of hearing music, you feel it. There's a buzz in the room. Support the places that support music. Let's keep it a strong entity because, sometimes it can be really tough. It's tough being in this business. It's often said that it chooses us. It's not the other way around. As you said, you were doing okay. Working in the monkey suit world, I was too, but I got to the point where, it's not what I wanted to do. I was miserable. And I think that there's a bunch of people who can get away with it. They can do it on the weekend. They can compartmentalize, do their gig. And then there's other people who, once they've been on a stage or once they played, they're wrecked.
it's all in.
Yeah.
It's all in. Wrecked. I love that. It's like that girl that you just caught a glimpse of, and like everything else just falls off the face of the planet, and all you can do is think about her. And how many times have we've been knee deep in a song and just been so overwhelmed by the creative process that dinner. What's dinner? Sleep? Come on.
It does. It has that ability, and I'm happy to hear and see that we are getting around to recognizing it. Music is not something for the background. Music is something for the foreground. It is the score of your life. So score big. Enjoy good music. We've got another tune we're going to play off of your CD. And this is from the self-titled CD, the Bounce, or
Bounce is off of our upcoming CD.
CD, and that is the one with you.
Correct.
Okay, I'm getting there. With you, which people, any idea when the release date's going to be?
We're actually we have a full EP recorded, and we're thinking about releasing it as singles, and possibly going back into the studio to add another 7 songs to it to release it as a full-length album. So we may not release this one as an EP. We may just release it as singles and then come out with a full-length album maybe, around fall cool. This year. So.
Well, that's one of the things that you do when you're in the music business these days. You have to they're different, and you have to be adaptive, and you have to be willing to try things and see what people respond to. Hope you respond to this little something called Bounce from Drew Leith.
Let's bounce.
Sometimes you get so low. Sometimes it's out of your control. Sometimes it feels as though there's nothing left, no room to grow. Sometimes it's not who you know. Myself that I'd always keep in touch with the things I love. I hold so dear, respect and such. Next time I won't need the crutch. when I hit the ground. When I hit the ground. This time I make a promise to myself. This time I won't just play the hand that I am dealt. This time I'm focused on me. I'll take my life back off the shelf. Can't forget my sense of self. I'm not gonna let them get me down. I won't listen to those familiar sounds. I'm gonna bounce. I'm not gonna let them get me down. I won't listen to those familiar sounds. I'm gonna bounce. Sounds. I'm gonna bounce. I'm not gonna let them get me down. I won't listen to those familiar sounds. I'm gonna bounce. I'm not gonna let them get me down. I won't listen to those familiar sounds. I'm gonna bounce. I'm not gonna let them get me down. I won't listen to those familiar sounds. I'm gonna bounce. When I hit the ground.
And that is Drew Leith and the Foundation with a little bounce, a little double bounce there. Barbershop Podcast on top of the world of Hamilton-based live music productions, I must say. We are broadcasting worldwide in high fidelity and high definition right now.
Nice.
Isn't that amazing? Technology has come such a far way, and we're riding that horse. We are cowboys in the wild west of the internet.
I think you need like a couple of clocks that can tell us what time it is everywhere. So I can be like, they're in their underwear, they're eating breakfast.
And yes, and our job, we'll have to get a co-op student or an intern whose job it is to harass at least one viewer in every country of the world.
I love it. I love it.
Say you need to watch
this.
It's
3 a.m.
Yes,
Get up.
I
What
don't
are you
care.
doing?
I want to say, we'll know too, because with the great thing and the terrible thing when you start off is you put so much work into it and nobody's watching or nobody's listening. And then you see it build up and it's like, wow, 3,500 people check this out. That's kind of neat.
And 22 people from Chile.
Yeah, well, it does spread around because you get an artist who's got a following, who has done their work, getting on the internet or entering competitions, and they have a little core in a country here and there. So you'll see that anomaly where there's a whole bunch in Hamilton, some in Toronto, St. Catharines, spreads out throughout Canada.
Yeah.
People who know people, high school buddies and whatever, where they kind of get their group of friends into it, and then Italy and Australia, and it's neat because
that's pretty good following.
It's pretty good following. What we're trying to do is get the live music experience to the people who never experienced live music. Bob Weir from the Grateful Dead has invested a lot of money doing that too.
This summer.
Yeah.
Big reunion.
Totally.
A lot of people up in arms.
Yeah.
That.
Well, you got to do what you got to do.
Bring the music, man. I think Trey from Fish is going to be playing. I think that's hats off to him. That's big shoes to fill, but
hey, you know what? You're not dead. You're still playing music, and people still want to hear it.
But they are dead.
Oh wow.
Wow, mind blown.
Just blow
But
on.
that goes back to what we were talking about before, about this disconnect between, well, what is music? Well, music is this thing that I press a button on my iPod and it just miraculously comes out of some speaker that I can't see where it is, and all this stuff. And I think that you're onto something there by trying to introduce. Yeah. You're slick over there.
I'm trying to be. What are we doing?
Inside joke. But yeah, no, I love that you guys want people to see them in the moment.
Yeah.
In the moment, I think is a good way to say it.
Yeah, and to realize it can sound that good. Yeah. It's like, wow, it's not like, and trust, we love putting lipstick on a pig, and especially when the pig's gorgeous to start with, but studio making everything beautiful, right? And, but when you go and you see it come right live, and something happens with the joy or the artistry or just the sheer chops of what's going on stage when it meshes together and the sum is greater than the parts. It's just a magical experience, and I never get jaded by it. I'm always moved by it.
I'm surprised I haven't said this before, but I just thought of this while you were talking. CDs don't have an aura. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when you go and see a band that's a living, breathing thing that is living and breathing, and you're watching it metamorphosize right in front of your eyes. And the first concert I ever went to, maybe a couple of bad habits may have been started at that concert.
It tended to happen.
But man, like the evolution of even my own love for music in that night was crazy, because it was a pretty monumental concert. Like it was Blues Traveler, Soundgarden, Pearl Jam, and Neil Young.
Sweet.
Okay, so if anyone remembers, this
I
was
remember
at the CNE, the old CNE grandstands, and you start off with Blues Traveler and talk about harp, like a guy that's more passionate about harmonica than just about anybody, and then you get into Soundgarden and Chris Cornell's just frickin' belting it out, and then you've got Eddie Vedder, who was definitely that guy crying, sitting playing the three-chord song, and every girl wanted him, and then you get, pardon the expression,
we say fuck here because we have to, because we need to swear on every episode.
Oh,
to
so
get
I can say fucking Neil Young. Oh my God, then fucking Neil Young comes out, and it's like the stage is now perspiring at this point. There's like this, it's not mist, it's sweat and perspiration lifting off the stage, and Eddie Vedder's sitting there drinking a beer, very similar to someone I know, on the side of the drum riser, and Neil's just doing his thing, and Eddie's just sitting there singing along like as if it was their backyard and they were just around the campfire.
And even though it was a giant show, it was still, everyone was tuned into exactly
totally. And that was sort of when I realized, like, wow, like these guys aren't just regurgitating what they did on the album on stage. This is a living, breathing entity that's different every time. Hence why you get deadheads. Hence why you get, people that follow around bands
it's
like
not
Fish
a movie.
or
It's not
Dave
like watching a
Matthews,
movie
right?
35 times. It's
Absolutely.
not.
For sure, man.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah,
it's not watching a movie.
And it's like when I see, and it's easy to get a little bit cynical about bands and some of our favorite guys. They get old, and you're like, why is that guy still playing? It's like, why not? Are they're evolving? You always can get better at what you do, and as long as your act isn't a phony thing where your act is lip syncing while you do calisthenics on the stage, you should be able to do it until you drop dead.
Right.
Like Johnny Winter, that's the way you do it. You do it right up until the point that you punch your ticket.
Or 1 foot off the stage,
right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. It's the real deal. It's love. It's life. It's music. We're gonna have another piece of it right here at Barbershop Podcast. You get another live one for us.
So this one, the last one that we played was Remain. That was actually the first song we ever released to radio in Canada. We almost broke top 100 with this. This song, Standalone, is available on iTunes. It's from the original album, Drew Leith. So if you like what you hear, go to iTunes and check it out, or come check us out at a show. You mentioned where to find us earlier. If you go to drewleith.com, you can get us there. You can also find us on Facebook, DLF-Drew Leith and the Foundation, or on Twitter you can get at Drew Leith Music. So this one's called Stand Alone, and it's kind of all about fucking up real bad, and she won't take you back after you did it.
Here you go at barbershoppodcast.com.
Years, see my colors, face my fears, but I know that it's all when you're on the bottle. I know I've tried, didn't want to do something that you didn't foresee, that you didn't want, that you couldn't handle, that you hadn't seen in me. Did I do something that made you forget what you saw in me? Still all alone, point to this year, you clear your conscience. You can't even clear your head, but I know that the spaces between spaces. Didn't want to do something that you didn't foresee, that you didn't want, that you couldn't handle, that you hadn't seen in me. Did I do something that made you forget what you saw in me? Did you hurt? Did you cry? Did you even try? Did it feel like there's no way you'd ever survive? Then you asked out, I know, 'cause it's how I felt too. Now tell me, what did I do that you didn't foresee, that you didn't want, that you couldn't handle, that you hadn't seen in me? Did I do something that made you forget what you saw in me? That you didn't foresee, that you didn't want, that you couldn't handle, that you hadn't seen in me? Did I do something that made you forget what you saw in me? Oh, oh, did I do something that made you forget what you saw in me?
Beautiful. Drew Leith here at barbershoppodcast.com. You're going to find great music like this. You know, all kinds of great music, different genres. The one thing in common, it's all original, it's all authentic, it's all real good too. You know what's real good, Ryan Cannon? Chicken wings. Chicken wings fall off the bone ribs. Pizza, thin crust, just pints at $3.75. I know you guys don't do. I know the food is so good. People go to Shenanigans for the food. They stay for the good times. It's like it used to be. It's real Hamilton. It's people say it's the old DiMaggio's, and that's what it is. Across from Delta High School at 1305 Main Street East, corner of Houghton. Our good friends Kev and Cass running that place. The staff in there is friendly. The food is great. Highly recommend it. You want to go in there. They've got weekly specials. Guaranteed to find something you like. If you like to dance, it's not a music club. It's not kind of like the scene, the downtown music scene. It's kind of, you want to go in there and shake your booty, do a decent jockey on a Friday or Saturday. You go and do that. You want to play some darts. You want to watch the football. You want to play some pool.
Saturday, where are you going to take your girl?
I'm going to take my girl right here on Saturday is what I'm going to.
They're going to take their girls to Shenanigans.
They're gonna, if she does like to dance, so I'm going to put that to her. You got a point there. Because she says, I like all this kind of like hippie music, Kevin, and everything. This is all great, but I like to dance. And it's like, okay.
And if she likes chicken wings, you got to put a ring on that.
That's right. Delio, 100% correct. Shout out to our Valentine's Days, those who are in love, those who are forlorn, those are just loving life, loving themselves. That's the first step. Love yourself, love the ones you're with, enjoy life.
Self-love.
Self-love.
It's the hardest kind of love.
It is, because we're tough on ourselves. We're rough on ourselves, and I don't, if you're selling a paper tiger, people are not going to like what they're buying. So you might as well give them the real deal, and then you'll know right off the bat who's worth the wait, who's worth the worry, who's worth the effort.
I like it.
Yeah, me too. I like the people. I think that's one of the reasons I'm in the music business. It's very hard to be a fake or a phony or a piece of...
And for anyone watching, Valentine's Day, you deserve to be in love. You deserve to find the one. So find the one that you love, that makes you happy.
Go to hamiltonartist.ca and get something creative on a shirt.
It's so true.
Print it up and walk it around with on your back. Guaranteed you're going to find someone who will say, I'll take you up on that offer.
And if you can't find something to buy her, make her something. Trust me. It'll
Except mad. Don't make her mad. That's the one thing.
Make her mad.
Don't make her mad.
No, make her chicken wings.
Make her chicken wings. She'll probably
wings.
like that. But clean up. Got Drew Leith in the studio. You want to check him out? It's Drew Leith, Leith, on the internet. Drew Leith and the Foundation. Check them out on Facebook. We're going to have their links here at the on the show at barbershoppodcast.com. We've got our show links, all our archives, 115 or whatever the number is. You'll find them there chronologically listed, both the audio file from iTunes as well as the video files, which you'll find on YouTube. We got another tune. This one is 947.
9:47, like the time.
Yeah, so there's was that the creative element about how you wrote it? That was the time?
Absolutely. Like, I'm sure you've had some of those moments. I don't want to call them like an epiphany moment, because it's not even necessarily a eureka moment. It's just when you look at the time and there's something significant about it, you don't really know what it is. Have you ever done that? You look at the clock, you wake up in the middle of the night, you look, it says 3:11 on the clock, and you're like, whoa, 3:11, that's significant. I don't know why, but it's significant.
Yeah.
So 9:47, if you listen to the words in the song, it's a sort of about unrequited love, but very literally was written about, you know, a snowstorm and waiting for my girl to get there, and she wasn't there, and you know, is she coming? Is she not, did she ever leave? Is she in a dish?
Is she ever going to come again?
Exactly. You got it.
Awesome. Talking about your heart, talking about your feelings. It's all here with the music that we love, the people we love at barbershoppodcast.com.
Maybe fitting.
It's 9:47 on a Tuesday night. It's raining outside, and I don't mind. I see the night, I see the night as it stares back at me, and my reflection sees it too. The stained glass pane, the lights can just get through to shine a light on you. Glimmers in the distance, like the glint from tears. I wish I could say that it didn't remind me, but that would make me a liar. The light shimmer and fade, and I can finally see, that my reflection sees it too. A stained glass pane, the lights can just get through to shine a light on you. The evening awakens to a glistening sea. Tiny perfect diamonds staring up from underneath, yeah. From the light, you appear. My reflection sees it too. The stained
And that's 947 right off of the debut album of Drew Leith. Self-titled. Drew Leith in the studio tonight with his friend and badass.
My good friend, my partner in crime.
Good crime, and honking on the harmonica. Honking on the harmonica.
Yeah.
Lots of different musical influences. Were you guys like rockers? Were you guys punk rockers? Were you guys like into metal? Like what? When you were 15, 16, 17, what was the music that obviously, like, there's not a lot of kids at that age are into, roots music. It kind of comes holistically through.
I listen to a lot of stuff. Why don't you feel that first, and I'll try and put together
Sure,
mine.
yeah. Like I grew up on Led Zeppelin and the Grateful Dead.
Yeah.
Great tunes. A lot, like as a kid too, like, Johnny Horton, a lot of country western, that sort of thing. But like as I got older,
where did that come to you from? Was that from inside your family, or
a couple of my
friends,
brothers
circles,
listened
brothers?
to
Okay.
they listened to some great music, and as well just preferential taste. I mean, it was mid 80s, right? And I wasn't really happy with what I was hearing on the radio, but I mean, the stuff from the 60s and the 70s was always great.
And vinyl was still relevant in the mid 80s. You could go to good record stores and
I think
hunting.
vinyl's the most relevant format right now.
Yeah. It's a really nice thing that Dave Grohl did a little spiel in Record Store Week, talking about, and it was a K-Tel record, the first record he bought, but talking about the whole process of his, little jobs he would do and going down. He knew the 5 record stores and he would go there, and it was, even today, he appreciates the care that's taken. And there's a process, just like a junkie when he loads up the needle. It's like that whole thing is as important as getting high. Like the record, there's a process.
Pretty soon those are going to be like antique stores.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that process is going to dwindle and dwindle and dwindle, and it's only going to be the really hardcore or the audiophiles that still care. And then you're going to get the 1 or 2 record shops in every metropolitan area where it's just that guy just played in 50 bands, and then when he couldn't get enough of bands, he had a record collection. He didn't know what to do with his record collection, and he opens a store, and next thing you know, it's something. You know what I mean? It's like it's like the heebie-jeebie or the CBGBs of the world, right? Yeah. So I don't know why I said heebie-jeebies.
I love it because I was thinking about that as a great name for a band just this week.
The heebie-jeebies.
Yeah, and then I thought obviously about 100 million.
There you go.
I
was channeling you. We were both thinking the same thing.
My 7-year-old and I were humming the same song.
But you know what? Like the CBGBs, that shit can't just happen. You can't plan that. Hey, can we open a hole in the wall and it's a really crappy little space and the sound sucks, but can we cram 1,000 people in there and make it as sweaty as possible? Yeah. And those, we were talking about connections earlier. Those people leave feeling so connected to those bands because they've breathed the same human moist, stagnant air.
Yeah. It's so true.
Holy shit.
Okay, we're going to play some live music before
here.
Shit happens here. Drew Leith in the studio, playing some live, playing some not so live, but it's all really good. Just like it is every week at barbershoppodcast.com.
And this is this true story of Billy Miner, the first man to ever rob a train.
Is he the guy they named the pie after that's really good at the keg?
He is, and we actually have a really close relationship with the keg. I think I can say that.
Can you get us in?
We can. You want to go for some? You want to go for some pie
steak?
After,
You want some
Billy
steak
Miner?
and pie?
We can do some Billy Miner
boys
pie.
are
A couple
in.
of baseball steaks and Billy Miner pie. Yeah, I'll call my buddy David. We'll see what we can do.
Dave's gonna fix us.
So if you're out there listening, David, we love you and the keg and everything amazing that you guys do in this great country of ours. And this is the story of the gentleman robber, otherwise known as Billy Miner.
Bill Miner starts down California, where he hustled and he bustled and they threw his ass away. With a scheme so fine, his concubine had tried to steal his tune. But Bill, whose will was fine and still, fled north to Saskatoon. Alone, riding the rails. I'm down on my luck, use my pistol as a crutch, and I won't stop running till I hit the white no say. And I waited, and I waited for so long for my train to come in. See the smoke on the horizon. Gentleman Robert had found his way right across the border north, seeking larger nail in women in no particular order course. As he rested up and he vested up and his plan grew grander yet, Seals whose will was fine as steel was one for placing bets. At home, right in the rails. Put both hands up, put your money in the cup, and I'll take your pocket watches if you don't mind, please say. And I waited, and I waited for so long, for my train to come in. See the smoke on the horizon. And I waited, and I waited for so long, for my train to come in. See the smoke on the horizon. See, Handsome Bill had a weakness for two things in this world. The first was a handsome payout and the next a handsome girl. But his latest last from Abbott's Pass through me talk without a care. She had stories of her own to tell. You see, her father was the sheriff. And I waited, and I waited for so long, for my train to come in. See the smoke on the horizon. And I waited, and I waited for so long, for my train to come in. See the smoke on the horizon. Train to come in. See the smoke on the, see the smoke on the horizon. Yeah.
Woo. You got all the dynamics. You must love that in the club. People love it.
Fun, man.
People,
It's
when
fun.
we save that one probably for the third set, right? When everyone gets
got it.
cooking
You
and
got
rolling. So Ryan and I played a band called Captain Easy, and we would always work together 3 sets, 30 songs for a full night, because you want to make a paycheck, so you got to deliver the goods, and you don't got 30 of your own songs that people are going to want to hear. So you pick awesome songs, play it in the style of your music, and then throw your tunes in there. What are some of the covers? I'm just curious, just like that. What you play that, or you think are awesome, and you never get tired of playing it because you think they're great songs and you enjoy playing.
Well, we do, believe it or not, we do a really great version of Freebird, which everyone really appreciates because, as you know, that's a song you're not supposed to cover, but people seem to really like our version of it, so awesome. We have this little thing called DLFing the song. We DLF the F out of it, and we'll take like a top 40 song that has nothing to do with Southern rock, and we'll make it Southern rock. So we do... we do Wicked Games by Chris Isaac. We do Royals by Lord. We do Avicii. We do just a whole bunch of really different stuff.
That's important too. Sorry, the crowd gets to see that it's a malleable, mutable music is something they're familiar with. Sure. The defenses are down. They love it, but they get you because of the way you're doing it.
And the thing is, it's so funny, like Royals, for example. We start off and it's just like, and so like, and it sounds like just like it could be Kid Rock or something, you know what I mean? And everyone's like, what song is that? What song is that? And then I'm like, I never seen a diamond in the flesh. And like half the girls in the place do something like this, and they're like, wait, hold on, I know that song. I set my teeth on wedding rings in the movies. And they're all like, oh shit, I know that. And then that's where you drop it into Southern rock, because now they get it.
Get it to turn around.
Everyone who knows us knows right? And it works. And then you sort of loosen them up to the idea that, hey, this is a song that I know, but you ain't never heard it like that.
And music isn't something that you keep. You can't keep it. Like a good song is playable in so many genres. Like Randy Rhoads was playing classical violin on a Jackson. It's like, come on. It's like people don't know that, but it's like music is incredibly mutable and very derivative in a good way. You're constantly taking, and I'm sure it's a good show. And what I'm getting at is you got a chance to see Drew Leith and the Foundation. You should go see them. You got any gigs coming up in the next little bit?
Yeah, we actually have a really big gig coming up for the Sounds of the City Festival in Toronto. MCN is putting that together, Music City North. We're headlining the Horseshoe Show. So
nice. You'll have to play the shoe.
The amazing Horseshoe. March 20th, so come down to Toronto, Queen Street, Music City North, Sounds of the City Festival, and we're going to be... we're going to be blowing the doors off that place. Thank you. Yeah, the Horseshoe Tavern.
Horseshoe Tavern.
11:15.
And if you want to catch a local show, we're playing at the Kiwi Gastro Pub in Cambridge, which is a really cool laid-back show if you want to catch something sort of similar to this. And then March 20th, come and we'll blow you out of the water.
I'm gonna because it's 3 days after my birthday, so I will. Wait, what day is that? Is that the Friday?
Friday, yeah.
That's the day I get my butt tested.
Nice.
I turned
we'll
50.
We'll bring you a blow-up circle cushion.
So one of that. I'm gonna
standing room only.
Ryan suggested I bring my doctor some flowers. And you know what his name is?
I think you're better to bring your doctor some.
And you know what his last name is?
Oh, do I even want to know?
It's Yellen. I'll be yelling. That's for sure.
Aren't they all?
Okay, enough of that. We got another song from, is this from the upcoming record, Mary?
Mary is on the upcoming album as well. So the song's 5-song EP is already recorded, as I mentioned, but we're thinking we may go back into the studio with songs like Billy Miner in the Distance and really sort of put together one of those albums. And you remember this. The advent of the CD brought forth one thing. Do you know what that is?
What's that?
Skip.
Yes.
And you couldn't do that before, and no one was farting around trying to find the song.
You sat down for 22 minutes.
You got it, man. You sat down, you listened to songs 1 through 5, you flipped it over. If it was a Pink Floyd song, you listened to 1 through 17 and then flipped it over and heard one song on the other side.
Yeah. I love that. And again, something you can visualize it, but you don't see it.
We want that, man. We want. You know what? Let's record an album where it's just one track from beginning to end.
All right.
Good. They're in. Okay, I like it too. But you're gonna like this. This is a Little Mary. We all like a Little Mary here at barbershoppodcast.com.
Everybody needs a shoulder to cry on. Whoever
All right, that's a little bit of Drew Leith and the Foundation. You can get a hold of that CD. You can get a hold of that tune on iTunes, of course. Amazon, where else can they grab that thing?
You can get it. HMV, believe it or not, is still selling CDs.
HMV?
So order it on HMV. They have a similar sort of online streaming service, so you can get it there. Come out to our show. That's the best place to get it.
You get
Come
it live.
And get a CD.
You're so jacked up, you're going, I want to take that home.
What? Throw me that bag right there.
I'm throwing it.
I got something for you in there. And we can show and we can show your fans.
I always implore people to bring swag because we like stuff.
Come to a show, you can get one of these. We've got one of these for Kevin.
All right.
And just to show we're some stylish dudes.
Got some garb.
We've got a very special T-shirt for Kevin.
That is awesome.
There you go.
That's all my girlfriend's going to wear this weekend.
Beautiful. There you go, brother.
Beautiful. Love it. Love it. Love it every week. I was hurting yesterday. I always have my midweek fix. It gets me through life. And certainly in the middle of February, it's tough. And people say, oh, Kevin, I love what you're doing. Thanks for this. This is so good. It's like, no. It's like you guys come in here on Wednesday. You open up. You tell your story. You play music. I feel great the rest of the week. Gets me through. Do it to yourself, for yourself. This weekend, every weekend. But guess what? There's music on Monday nights, on Tuesday nights, on Wednesday nights, on Thursday nights. You don't have to stay. On the way home, have a beer, check something out, come home. You'll be home by 10:30, 11. Enjoy some live music. It's going to be great.
If I can add one thing to that.
Yes.
Go out and see a band you've never heard of.
Yes.
Go out and listen to a style of music you hate. Go out and do something different, because in something different you will find something new that you love, right? Oh, I hate samba music, but how do you know if you've never danced to samba, right?
Yeah.
Go out and try it.
Yeah, there's people who hate basketball who go to a basketball game and go, wow.
It's
I
true.
have no idea, right? So
because watching it on TV is not the same, and that's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Watching the movie on repeat, watching the concert on repeat is not the same as going to the show.
Experiencing it. It's a live experience. It's real. There's heart in this. There's sweat and blood. And it's all real, and it's all good. And it's all here at Barbershop Podcast. We're going to play one more tune before we say goodbye. And I like the sound of this one. Girl in the Song. Like, what good song doesn't have a girl in it? Or is it about a girl, or is it about the result?
It is. But it's not like about like a guy's... It's a kind of an interesting song, actually. It's about a girl who is drawn by the luster of the big city. So maybe a farm girl, maybe a Haldeman County girl who comes to Hamilton on a Friday night looking for the big lights of the city, or drives all the way into Toronto and maybe finds herself in a little bit of trouble and gets in a bit over her head. And, well, you guys will have to listen to the rest.
It's all a story, and we love a story here at barbershoppodcast.com.
Draw the line to arrive at a place size. Upon further inspection, he staggered and swayed, but she got in his car and drove off anyway. Pulling up to the meeting location, it seemed she still had to wait for the boy of her dreams. And on the radio played the song from that day, that laid it all out in such a simple way. Live every day as if it's your last, and always move forward, don't live in the past. For he who remembers is bound to live. So live every day as if it was your last day to live. The man she had met on the net just that day had captured her heart in the most peculiar of ways. Destined to meet and come back to not wait. She picks up the phone and she makes it a date. Small town girl of those big city nights. She drove all day like a mob drawn to light to arrive at a place that she doesn't belong. Now she can say she's the girl from this song. Live every day as if it's your last, and always move forward, don't live in the past. For he who remembers is bound to relive. So live every day as if it was your last day to live. Live every day as if it was your last day to live.
Girl in the Song. Beautiful story here. Drew Leith and the Foundation. Check them out. Check Barbershop Podcast out. Share it with your friends. Say, this is awesome. I really, really think you would like it. Barbershop Podcast back next week with the Zills. Going to be a great show. A little bit of a trio, rock and roll. Guys, thanks for coming out. I hope you had a good time.
Kevin.
Oh,
Amazing.
man.
Thank you, guys.
It was fantastico. For Ryan Cannon and Gary Greenland and the entire staff here at Barbershop Podcast, Boxo Studio, Hamilton, Ontario. See you next week.